Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. The time is 6:46. Beautiful look out from our iCam on this Thursday morning. Not a cloud in sight, just that beautiful glow over the horizon there. Let's go ahead and get started with the day's news. Our big story for the day: President Trump returns to Big Sky Country. MTM's Elizabeth Transu is in Missoula with a preview of tonight's event.
Good morning. Here at the Missoula International Airport, they're getting ready for Air Force One to touch down tonight, where President Donald Trump is expected to speak at the Minuteman hangar. Now, this is the third visit to the Big Sky Country for the president. First, he was in Great Falls in July, second in Billings in September, campaigning for Republican U.S. Senate candidate Matt Rosendale. Rosendale is trying to unseat Democratic Senator Jon Tester. Now, this visit is a little different from the last. The president is landing at the airport and will have Air Force One as his backdrop, meaning there will not be a motorcade. You're going to want to check online for details on how to get there because parking is very limited. As of right now, no word on whether Senator Steve Daines or Congressman Greg Gianforte will be present. That rally, again, is at the Minuteman hangar at the Missoula International Airport at 6:30 p.m. And you can watch the rally and all things leading up to it on the CW channel. And of course, stay with MTN on air and online for your full rally coverage. In Missoula, Elizabeth Transu, MTN News.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. And as she mentioned, the rally will stream live on the CW. That's channel 2.2 over the air, 511 on Spectrum, 7 on Dish, and 5 on DirecTV. If you're not around a TV, you can check out ktvq.com or our Facebook page, where we will carry the same coverage. A home in West Billings is a complete loss after a fire broke out Wednesday afternoon. The fire broke out in a home on the 7600 block of Grand Avenue around 4 p.m. and forced the closure of Grand for nearly 3 hours. When crews arrived, the house was fully involved and they immediately went into a defensive mode to keep the flames from spreading. Yellowstone County DES Coordinator Lieutenant Kent O'Donnell says the fire started with some mechanical work on a car, which then sparked a grass fire and quickly spread to the house. The homeowner was in the house while his friend worked on the car. Fortunately, no one was injured. However, O'Donnell says a cat may be missing. Firefighters from Moult and Billings responded. A polio-like disease making the rounds across the nation is now suspected in 2 adults in Gallatin County. Many liken the symptoms of AFM to polio because patients are left feeling weakened or even in some cases paralyzed. John Ebelt with the Montana Health Department did not release the age or sex of the adults, but says in each case further testing is warranted. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has confirmed 62 cases in 22 states. He says the last time Montana had a similar case was in 2015 when a young child was diagnosed with the virus in Yellowstone County. Ebelt says the reason the cases are suspected and not yet confirmed is because more testing has to be done by the CDC. The Laurel School Resource Officer accused of sexual misconduct has resigned. The officer also is now identified as Fred Gregory, an 11-year veteran of the Laurel Police Force. The city's chief administrative officer says the sexual misconduct involved the 16-year-old high school student. The relationship started with emails and texts, but apparently turned flirtatious and eventually physical. In July of 2017, Gregory and the student met at a Billings residence and had sexual contact. It was reported the relationship ended shortly after. Gregory was removed from school grounds last Friday. Laurel City officials are now referring the case to Yellowstone County to determine if criminal charges will follow. The Bozeman man who pleaded guilty to killing his wife with a frying pan in January of 2017 has been sentenced to 105 years in the Montana State Prison. In January of 2017, Jake Collins initially told police he hadn't seen his wife Crystal since the two had a fight on New Year's Eve. Later, Collins admitted to striking his wife repeatedly in the head with a cast iron frying pan and then using a knife to cut her throat. Officers found Crystal's body in the bed of his truck, hidden inside a sleeping bag with bloodied pillows. The couple's children were at home during the attack. Turning to campaign news, actor Jeff Bridges paid a visit to Montana State University in Bozeman Wednesday. Bridges was there to endorse Montana Senator Jon Tester in the upcoming election. He answered questions not only about the current U.S. Senate race, but also about his acting career. Bridges stressed the importance of voting in a state with just over 1 million people, pointing out that Tester won by only 3,000 votes in 2012.
A little upset that I can't vote myself. I am registered in California, but we've had a place here for over 40 years, and we've supported Jon Tester for 12 years now. And I just, man, I dig him. And when I see him on TV, his strength and his respect, he's respectfully strong. He works with, the other folks on the other side of the aisle. He knows how to do that. He's a third-generation farmer. He's the only farmer in the Senate.
After the event, the college Democrats provided transportation for people wanting to register to vote. Governors from 3 states will be in Billings today to talk economic opportunity and challenges. The annual meeting of Big Sky Economic Development will include comments from Montana Governor Steve Bullock, Wyoming Governor Matt Mead, and South Dakota Governor Dennis Dugard. Wyoming has struggled with lower energy markets, including coal, but second quarter earnings across the state are showing positive growth. South Dakota has a track record of being one of the top economies in the nation. Manufacturing and business growth are strong again this year. Montana is also showing economic growth with an increase in wage growth and another solid summer tourist season. The event will be held on the campus of MSUB beginning at 11:30 a.m. With destinations like Yellowstone and Glacier National Park, it's no surprise tourism is one of Montana's leading industries. But tourism reaches beyond the parks, impacting the entire state. Billings has been working to become a destination in itself with its close proximity to Yellowstone, a variety of outdoor activities, as well as the city's brewery district and shopping scene. In Yellowstone County, out-of-state tourism means as much as $250 million to the local economy. Dax Schiefer, director of Voices of Montana Tourism, says the latest data shows many people travel here for the national parks, but come back for more.
86% right now of people who come to Montana the first time are going to come from one of those experiences. But 7 out of 10 people who visit Montana once will come back again. And when they come back again, that gives a great opportunity for them to spread themselves out, to go visit other communities that might not be as crowded, and to have that experience. So there is going to be continued growth. If trends stay as they are, there's great momentum.
Schiefer says more than $400 million comes into Yellowstone County from in-state visitors, people coming to the Billings area for events such as concerts and sporting events. Well, what would you do with $900 million? That's the question everyone in America is asking themselves after the Mega Millions lottery jackpot climbed this week. At McPhinney's convenience store in Billings, Q2 spotted plenty of folks coming in to buy a ticket or two in hopes of winning big. Friday's drawing will be the largest jackpot in the game's history and the second largest in the U.S. lottery jackpot history. At McPhinney's this week, they estimate they already sold more than 1,000 tickets.
They say that if you buy one ticket, it's like buying no ticket, but you always hope and pray that you might hit the big one someday.
They just tell me that we'll both be retired or we'll go on vacations, that kind of stuff. I have one old guy, he's promised me a Porsche, so yeah.
The reason these jackpots have ballooned is simple. No one has won in a while. Back in August, a woman won roughly $300,000 after purchasing a Montana lottery ticket from McPhinney's. Montana illusionist Jay Owenhouse is making a couple of stops in Billings this week as part of his Dare to Believe tour, and his rare Bengal tigers are here as well. He performed Wednesday night at Rimrock Mall and performs again Saturday at the Alberta Bear Theater. We're learning his show is a family affair. He says this year they decided to make a special stop in Billings and perform a timeless Houdini trick.
Coming to Billings, it's our 3rd time that we've done the show here in the last 6 or 7 years, and we wanted to do something special this time, and this year we've really kind of focused on kind of creating more awareness among the younger generation about Houdini and really what he accomplished.
House says it is a priority for the Tigers to have 20 days a month in their sanctuary in Bozeman, where he lives. There are 2 shows Saturday at Alberta Bear, the first at 4 p.m. and another at 8.